stuck at the top of the tower block and everything, you know,
Yeah.
and they don't see anybody.
No. No.
You know, but what can you do, isn't it? It's the way the circumstances take it at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of people who sometimes I see, they know, obviously they know who I am and everything like that, but there you go.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
it must be coming up to 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we are coming up to 6 o'clock. People are coming in. I'm just waiting for people to come into the waiting room.
Right. Well, on the phone.
Yeah, on the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
And because it seems as though people don't want others to be let in before others, so I will wait until I've got a lot of people waiting, and then
Yes.
I will let them all in.
Yes.
Trouble is, I'm not sure how many people to be expecting at this meeting. I haven't got time to double check, and you know, if I let...
No, I think the most councils you've got on there is 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think on DMP. So
yeah. So there's 11 people waiting to come in, so I will let them all in now.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay,
then,
Deborah. Thank you very much.
Okay. Where is everyone? I thought I'd let them all in. There we go. Here they come.
Hello.
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 G'day.
The lovely wall you got there, Deborah.
Sorry?
The lovely wall you got there.
Yeah, isn't it?
Hello, Mick.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, you can't see me. Hang on. Why is that?
Deborah?
Yes.
For the first item, do I take the chair?
You will have to, yes.
That's what I thought.
Good evening, Deborah.
Hello. Oh, is that James?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I presume as sitting chair, you want me to open the meeting?
Oh, well, yes. I didn't realise, I hadn't noticed that you were here, James. So, yes, yes.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening to everyone else.
Hi.
Everyone seems to be on it, but
Hello, Warwick.
Hello, Warwick.
Hello.
Oh, wow, video.
I know, this is fantastic.
talents.
I haven't seen these councillors for about a year.
Well, there should be a lot more people visible.
And I've got a cat on mine, so that's good news.
Yeah, I'm hoping that my little cat gets annoyed of the attention and goes away.
Deborah, can you see me on screen?
No, I can't. I'm only seeing 7 in total on the screen.
Why can't see me on screen then?
Well, that's because your video's turned off.
Well, let's try and turn it on. There we
Oh,
are.
there you are.
There you are.
Wasn't difficult.
No. Okay. Andy Drummond. Okay.
I mean, can you see me, Deborah?
I can.
We can all see you.
Revolutionary.
Warwick.
This is a revelation.
See James too. That's quite a revelation.
Warwick, you're only in the bottom of your screen.
Oh.
You're growing taller.
Well, Chris has appeared.
Yeah, I've reappeared.
Oh,
I can hear birds. Oh, that must be on yours, Deborah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
I've set up my office in the garden today. It was just too nice to be stuck indoors. So, are we waiting on anybody?
Is Andrew's here, is he?
I'm here, yeah. John,
Audio only.
John isn't here, is he?
There he is.
Is he?
Andy Drum's here.
Yeah, no, John Border.
He's not on this
He's
committee.
not on the list, is
He's
he?
not on the
Oh,
list.
isn't he? Oh, that's probably why he's not here then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so
I think we're probably all here.
he's an intruder.
You'd like to start, Deborah?
Yes, please.
Right. Good evening to members of the public. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
councillors. I must just read this to you. This meeting is being held on the online Zoom platform and is being recorded. Any member of the public in attendance who does not wish to be included in the recording can disable their video, although this would prohibit their ability to participate at the appropriate time. Item 1, election of chairman. Do we have candidates?
Sorry.
Chris.
Just one candidate.
I'd like to
I'd
say-
like to propose Councillor Caesar
Oh,
as
thank
chair.
Fine.
I'm happy to second that.
Uh,
Great.
Councillor Holbert, did you hear?
Yes, is there anybody else?
So-
Anybody else proposing anybody? No.
So, Councillor Holbert is asking if there are any other proposals.
No other proposals? So, do we need a show of hands, Deborah? As we only have one?
Uh,
We'll have
I'd
one.
like to propose. Which, hang on.
hang on,
I'd like-
Councillor Holbert's trying to speak. Just bear with.
Yes, sorry. I would like to propose Rachel Hood.
You'd like to.
also.
Okay.
I don't want to be the chair, thank you. So I'm
Okay,
happy to
okay.
second Councillor Caesar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Happy with that, Deborah?
Yes, that's fine.
Fine. So, Councillor Caesar, you are appointed chair.
Well, hang on. We haven't had a show of hands yet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, let's have
okay.
a vote. And then
Right, all right.
Show of hands.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone against?
I think.
Anyone abstaining? Thank you, Sarah. You now have the chair.
God.
Please go ahead and enjoy.
Thank you, James. Yeah, thank you very much for showing me how to do this as well.
My
It's really
pleasure.
appreciated that over the years. So thank you. It's great.
Very
So
nice chairman proposal, actually.
okay,
Deborah?
so
Deborah, would you excuse me if I bow out now? Done
Yeah.
my bit.
Yes.
Sarah, it's over to you.
okay, you're going to get your dinner now.
I'm going to get my dinner now. Thank
Okay.
you.
Right. Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. Okay, then. So we've done the thing about this being recorded. Okay, straight to number 2. Then elect a vice chairman. Have we got any willing?
I propose
Volunteers?
Councillor O'Neill.
Second.
Okay, anyone else? Or
No, doesn't seem to be.
okay, vote on that then.
So should we? Yeah, take a vote. All those in
Yes.
favour? 1, 2.
I abstain.
Right.
And I'll abstain too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favour.
And me.
Oh, and 6. 6 in favour. Yes. Councillor Holbert and Councillor Hood have abstained. Councillor
Okay.
Drummond.
Against?
Councillor Drummond, are you voting or abstaining?
Or are you on mute?
Yeah. Well, he's muted himself. Well, I think it's a majority vote anyway,
Thank you.
Okay.
with 6 in favour.
Good.
Okay, and we've already announced that the proceedings have been recorded and advised that all participants will be muted by the host of the meeting, who will unmute the individual the chairman has invited to speak. Okay. Item 4, apologies. Do we have any apologies?
With no apologies that I'm aware of.
Councillor Kirby has apologised.
Oh yes, he's in Italy, isn't he?
Oh yes.
Okay. Item 5, register of interest, declaration of members' interest, and to remind councillors of the need to keep up to date with the register of members' interest and to consider any requests received from members' dispensation. Which reminds me, I need to update mine. Okay, I'll do that after the meeting.
Okay.
Um,
There are no dispensations that I'm aware of.
okay.
As whether councillors have any interest in any of the applications.
Nope.
Moving on.
Okay. Item 7, sorry, minutes of previous meeting. So I nearly skipped over that. Okay, to receive and confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of May and any matters arising. Okay, so just go through for accuracy first. Page 1, page 2, and page 3.
Yeah, I've got a question on page 3. In relation to the delegation panel decisions, it says the delegation panel would be considering the new roadway for the proposed McDonald's restaurant. I thought they were considering their application.
I thought it was the application. The one we looked at in the meeting was about what style of fence they were putting on the roadway. It was a amendment to the previous application that had already gone through, wasn't it?
Well, when I addressed the delegation panel, they appeared to be considering the entire thing.
Oh.
That's fairly normal. But in these particular circumstances, they've been throwing everything onto delegation they can. So it's very.
That's not the point I'm making. Sorry, I'm just making the point about the accuracy of.
Oh yeah. It probably was down as just an application with no mention of delegation. That probably followed afterwards, I would think.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, I'm just questioning whether they were just considering the new roadway or whether they were considering the application.
Ah, right.
Do you propose, Councillor Hood, to suggest an amendment to the minutes to say to considering the application for the proposed McDonald's restaurant and to remove the words new roadway?
Well, I can't because I don't know for sure that that's what we were doing, but perhaps somebody else remembers.
So I'm trying to look up the.
I think it was roadway actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up now on the.
Irrespective of what it was still an application, so it would just keep it a bit more general.
Okay, I think that would be a good idea. So I'd be happy to propose that, so we're not conspicuous.
Yeah.
I can second that.
Okay.
Can we clarify the amendment, please? Thank you.
Yes, so it would say the delegation panel would be considering the proposed McDonald's restaurant. So if you took out the words the new roadway.
Okay, will do.
Okay, all in favour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's page 3, wasn't it? Okay, and go through for matters arising.
So we need to vote on.
Vote, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, vote on that. I've got proposer in a second there. There you go.
Yeah.
All in favour of the minutes, Councillor Holbert?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll get on to matters arising. Page 1.
Yeah.
Page
Can
2.
Sorry.
Okay.
Page 1. Yeah. Can we just check that letter's been sent? At the bottom, letter to East Cambs and West Suffolk that we talked about.
Yes, it was sent.
Okay. Thank you. Could we have a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, page 2. Nothing. And page 3. So
Sorry, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask about the delegation panel then, because it was held on the 19th. So do we have any follow-up to that?
Yeah, I can give you an update because the ward councillors didn't really know enough about it. So I did a Teams meeting with them. And so instead of it being delegated to the delegation panel, they have now sent it to full planning committee meeting, which I think is on the 3rd of June. Deborah, do you know?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I did look into that. Just trying to remember whichever the next meeting. I'll quickly look that up while we carry on. And
Okay, and I can add a bit more substance, which is the mayor might be interested to hear that our many years efforts over the neighbourhood plan didn't really seem to have permeated through to the planning officers, and so I think that was, it was helpful to be able to make those points very strongly, and also the fact that we had, with one exception, had everybody had voted against this application. Just so Debbie knows, this is an application that, with the exception of one councillor, the entire previous committee voted against. So we're fairly unified on that, and we're supposed to have appropriate, or I can't remember the words, the mayor can refresh my memory, that we're supposed to have appropriate entrances to Newmarket, and it was felt...
Yeah, attractive entrances.
Yes, attractive. It was felt that this failed, and having seen it in a bit more, it's definitely not an attractive entrance. So it's going to it's going to the full council meeting, so we need to decide what people want to do in connection with it.
So it's the Development Management Committee meeting on the 3rd of June at 10 a.m.
Thank you. I mean, I'm very happy to go on to go there and speak against it, but maybe others want to do that.
Be happy for councillors Good and Drummond to do their district council job as appropriate.
Okay.
Councillor Neil?
Sorry, are we making a resolution on that? Because isn't that something that came up at last week's full council meeting, that we're making a resolution on matters arising in the minutes?
Well, are we actually making a resolution?
Well, I think it isn't. This just following on from a resolution we made when we were discussing the McDonald's application. I think it was 2 meetings ago now, that we were going to have the district council on our behalf about McDonald's. So nothing really here tangible has changed here, other than the fact that the meeting is going to be a different meeting.
Yeah, so we just don't vote on it. That's just
Councillor,
we already have.
Councillor O'Neill is correct. We can just put it down as an action point that we agree to do it. Is that okay?
Everyone happy with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, any other matters arising on page 3? No, okay. Right, public participation, an invitation of members of the public to put questions or statements of not more than 3 minutes duration. Resolutions can only be made on items that are on the agenda, but councillors are very happy for matters relating to the town to be brought to our attention. Anyone from the public like to speak? Have we got any members of the public?
Yeah, you've got 2 members of the public.
Okay, hello.
I don't think, clearly they don't wish to speak, so we'll move on.
Okay, they're on mute. Item 8, planning applications, West Suffolk lists 19 and 20. So starting list 19, there are no planning applications, so straight to list 20. Scrolling down. Okay, DC 20 0681 full. This is Reynolds House on the High Street. Planning application for change of use from a shop to offices. So it will be horse racing journalism firm with 6 staff in an office, which is a proposed usage. Would anyone like to speak on this? I'll second that. All in favour?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's everybody seems to be in favour of that.
Yes.
Okay.
I should say the building plans look exactly the same between the existing proposed, so I don't think it makes any material changes.
What shop was it, or is it currently? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure.
Wasn't it the old vets at one point?
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Their front office, presumably.
Okay. So DC 20 0729 Phil. The Laureate Paddocks, 7 commercial use units and associated works. So it's already an industrial unit and some scrub land, and they're proposing 7 new relatively small industrial units. This is in an area for industrial units. The only mature trees are on the outside of the boundary, so luckily aren't being felled. There are 3 young trees which are being felled but are actually being replaced according to the landscape plans. So would anyone like to speak on this?
Yes, Sarah.
Go ahead.
Clearly, it's an appropriate development in that it's on the industrial estate. I question you say that it's fairly small. They're quite large to me.
No, each industrial unit, you know, these aren't kind of the same size as Iceland kind of thing individually. They're, you know, they're kind of in scale with what's already there.
Okay, I mean that. I hesitated because when I looked at it and looked at the elevations, they seemed to be quite large, and I didn't know what effect that would have on the surrounding area. And it was difficult for me, looking at the plans, to be confident that it wouldn't be overbearing on neighbouring buildings, or that it fitted in. I mean, I'm inclined to approve because clearly it's good to have these units in that particular area. But I did notice that the expiry date is the 30th of June, and that would give us an opportunity perhaps to go and look at that place, perhaps individually rather than a site visit, before we made a decision. I'm just slightly concerned on such what appears, and I may be wrong, but it appears to me quite a large development.
Yeah,
it's difficult to get the scale.
Yeah, can I speak on that too? I agree with Councillor Jeffries on that, and I think we have seen Studlands and places like that, and I've heard about similar things happening in Haverhill. These kind of industrial units that are overpowering to the local community. So I would like, if you're making a proposal, I would like to second that, and I think we should go and look at it and see how tall and what their reach is. Plus, I think we also need to, when the time comes, make sure that we emphasize the fact that the trees have to be replanted.
Okay.
Yes, I am proposing that we have a site visit. How that's organised and whether it's done individually or collectively, I don't know. I suspect we ought to do it individually. But we may not. It may be difficult to ascertain exactly where these buildings are going if we go individually. But it'd be better than nothing to at least have reconnoitred the site.
I second that.
Okay, all in favour?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So will you defer this until the next meeting?
The next meeting, yeah. To give
Yes.
everyone an opportunity to visit the site.
Yeah. I'm just
Okay, and
double checking the dates on the website just to make sure that so the consultation expiry date is the 2nd of June.
All right.
So that would put us just beyond the date, but I'm sure they'd still accept our comments.
Well, normally we'd write in and say, so the expiry date of the 30th of June is something else, is it?
That's the determination deadline.
Okay. Normally, I think we ought to write in to them just saying that we'll provide our comments later. Otherwise they could shut us out.
Yeah, although usually if we ask for an extension, the maximum they would give would be sort of 3 or 4 days, but we can certainly ask for an extension.
well, first, do we want to? There was a document included on the West Suffolk site. I can't remember which one it was called. Oh, sorry, I haven't got the list in front of me. That did have some photos of the surrounding buildings as sort of evidence that this was already an industrial area. So I don't know if people want to see those now in case that kind of reassures people. I'm just concerned because if we end up doing the site visit and then we object to this, we'll have possibly missed the boat already.
Can I add something, Chair?
Yeah.
Which is that I don't think it's unknown to see plans that actually don't show the
true nature.
Yeah. So I would be reluctant.
Shocking.
Yeah. We did have this awful situation in Studlands where we tried as much as we could but failed to help the residents who were really horrified.
Okay, so let's ask for to move the deadline and get a site visit in before the next meeting. They're also changing the access road to Craven Way, so that's something to bear in mind when you're having a look.
Looks like the end of the world.
It's very grey, isn't it? I know grey's in, but that's a bit much.
Okay.
Those were the pictures that had me worried. I just couldn't tell the scale of that with the surrounding buildings.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure that they'd still consider our comments. That seems to be the only. There don't seem to be actual photographs of what it looks like at the moment on the website. Just the normal sort of documents.
Okay. To do. Sorry, I've forgotten if we voted on that.
Yeah. I think we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on. DC 200730 TPO Paget Place Lime. So they want to repollard to the previous points, which seems to be keeping the tree healthy. So I would propose that we consider this responsible tree management.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
you seconding that? All in favour?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody's in favour. Thank you.
Okay, DC 200745 TCA. Trees in a conservation area, notifications as Old Station Road, a U being reduced in height and about 2.5 metres in height and spread by 2 metres. This is the one that's, if you're familiar with it, there's a few buildings in the courtyard and they've got 2 trees. This is the one that's further into the courtyard. It has apparently been cut to substantially back before and seems fine with that treatment. So I would probably consider this responsible tree management again, despite, well, unless tree officer thinks it's
Yes.
over
And
pruning.
also tree management.
Okay. Second, all in favour?
Yeah.
Yep. Lovely, thank you.
Okay. DC 200746 TCA, another conservation area, felling a spruce on Old Station Road. Yeah, felling's not the same as pruning. So, anyone like to talk on it, or should I just say maybe we should object to this one because whilst it is in a courtyard surrounded by houses, you know, it has been there for a while. So
yeah, I'm in favour of rejecting felling.
Healthy trees. Hang on, sorry, I didn't check to see whether or not they were actually going to replace it. So I'll just do that now. No, there's nothing wrong with it. And oh well, it says poor specimen, die back in places, but they're not going to replant. So I'd say object still.
Agree.
On favour?
Do you want
Yeah.
to sort of specify that that we're objecting because
We
they're proposing to replace it, or
we object to the felling of healthy trees, and just because it's got a bit of dieback doesn't mean they couldn't prune it. And
yeah, okay,
yeah,
Loss of wildlife habitat as well.
yeah. And while they say it's a poor specimen, if you're walking down that road, it's actually quite a nice tree. So yeah, I think we should object. And this is the thing, that we object to it, but then we can't then say, if it gets through the district council, we can't then say, oh, but we would like you to replace it. So
no,
we're just gonna have to object.
Yeah.
Well, we can say it. They don't.
We do say it, yes.
Yeah, I think we ought to say it, because the more we say it, you know, we've come a long way on the tree front from when all the trees were just taken down and nobody even asked us, to the fact that we've had the tree people visit us. So I don't think
what we've changed our normal pros to is the committee actively encourages responsible tree management. The committee objected to this application and requested that the application be submitted to the tree officer for consideration and approval. That's what we've changed our wording to.
Could we use that wording and say, if it is felled, please can a replacement be planted?
Okay, I'll add that in.
Do I have a seconder for that?
Yeah.
All in favour?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, DC 200753HH, householder planning application, single story rear extension, change concrete panels to brick on all elevations on Madison Road. I didn't see any documents on the website for this one.
There's just the neighbour response in support of it is the only thing on there.
I didn't even see that on it.
That's a handwritten.
Is that you?
yeah.
That was on today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I read them yesterday.
Would you like me to read it out for you?
We haven't got enough information.
No, I would be more comfortable if we at least have plans. And
So I think we just need to respond and just advise the planning authority that we're unable to consider the application as there was no documentation available.
yes. Do we need to propose and second that, or?
Yeah, I was just going to say we
So
don't know. We don't know if it is a single story rear extension or if they're changing the concrete panels to brick on the single story rear extension.
Yeah, I wondered that. I wondered, is it that, or are they redoing the whole house and building a single story extension while they're doing it. It's so unclear.
Yeah.
Did we not? Don't we need to object to this because we have not got sufficient information? In other words, they can't go ahead. We can't say, oh, we can't comment. We've actually got to object because we haven't had sufficient information.
Well, you could actually, because the this actually has a slightly longer deadline. So the neighbour consultation expiry date is the 8th of June.
Okay.
So we could ask for an extension on the basis that there is insufficient information, and ask and make them aware of the fact that we could struggle to comment on it because there's no information.
Okay, I'll propose that.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Information available. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, item 9, planning applications, amended and deferred plans. Do we have any?
Not that I'm aware
No.
of.
Okay. Item 10, planning applications, East Cams. Haven't seen any of those.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, item 11, planning decisions, plans withdrawn, West Suffolk lists 19 and 20. So that is number 19. Okay, so planning decisions ending the week of the 15th of the 5th. Waitrose wasn't particularly controversial. And Wicks wasn't. So I did have a question about one of these, but I can't find it. No, I'll come back to it. Okay. Item 12, delegation plan. Oh yeah, delegation panel decisions. DC 20-0436 HH, the Brookfield Close, Newmarket. I had a question about what officer minded to position meant in this instance.
Well, usually it just means that the officer, based on the evidence in front of him and or her, and looking at it all, that they're at the moment that's what they're thinking would be their response to the application.
Okay, before it goes to the delegated panel, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because there's seemingly no kind of documentation as to how they've kind of come to that conclusion, because I noticed we objected to this one because, no, we didn't. We supported this application because it was a first of all side extension, but it was kind of in scale. It didn't seem to create any problems for the neighbours or anything. But the officer here is minded to refuse it. However, when we had the one on the, was it Heath Bell Road or something, where they had a side extension, a rear extension, a front extension, and then an entire new residence at the back, there were no objections to that. But I would have thought that the same rules would have applied to both of these and how they looked from the road and scale. And so I was just wondering whether or not we get any extra information to how they've come to this conclusion.
Actually, the householder did get in touch with me about this, and it seems as though it's a new girl, a new planning officer, so maybe she's a bit keen. The roof line of the extension is in line with the roof line of the main building, so possibly if that roof line was reduced, it might find favour with the planning officer, but there certainly seems to be no. It's in keeping with the neighbourhood, I believe.
Yeah, just looking. There's no obvious reason. Sorry,
it's you, Warwick, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, but why? She may be a new offer, I don't know, but we need a reason. You should give a reason why she's refusing it.
Well, she's not
I
actually
haven't-
refusing it yet.
If I look at the site, I can't understand why she's refusing.
I think I think it is on that roof line. And I did suggest to the household that maybe if the roof line was reduced, it might find favour. But I would think probably the committee would pass it. So I think we just reaffirm our approval.
So does the office attends those delegated panel meetings?
Yeah, they would do. Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of explains why they can keep it short.
A lot of stuff is going to delegation currently because they haven't got meetings in public. It's
Okay. Well, I was only really interested because it just seemed so relatively straightforward to ones compared to some of the things that have seemingly got through without any comments. So
yeah, I think it is a keen young planning officer.
that's good. Maybe she'll help us keep our trees.
Sounds like a good thing.
Okay. Was there anything else we need to discuss on that item? Other than that, I guess if we felt strongly about it one way or another, we could probably send would we have to request that would decision would have to go to
It would have to be called in. Yeah.
Okay.
So whether Councillor Hood or Councillor Drummond might like to call it in.
Or whether Councillor Hood or Councillor Drummond would be willing to attend the delegation panel and put the council's viewpoint across.
I mean, in this instance, it's you know, there's no sort of you know, it's better if we're in favour of something and they're objecting it rather than the other way round. Then I would say yes, we need to have some sort of representation here. But I'm just basically trying to work out how this would work in future if we did have strong feelings about objecting to something. So, you know, in this instance, I'm not implying that we do need to do anything about it.
But if a planning authority turns something down, they have obligation to say why. And it's not clear to me why they are turning this down.
No, they're not. They're just. It's the comment of the planning officer.
Officer's recommendation. So I do think it needs to be called in at a delegation.
Yeah.
I don't think town councils can call in, can we?
No.
No.
No, it has to be the district councillors.
Well, if we can't call it in, then we disagree with the district council view.
Councillor Drummond would like to speak.
Yeah, it's in my ward, so
to refuse it.
I'll happily attempt to get the chair and the vice chairs to refer it to committee.
I don't think it's in your ward, Councillor Drummond.
Yeah, it's Brookfield, isn't it?
That's Newmarket North. And your Newmarket West, Councillor Drummond.
Oh, yeah.
I am. Sorry, somebody, I think it was Deborah said it was me that could call it in, so I just...
Well,
he doesn't have to be the ward councillor.
That's all right then.
It does actually.
Oh, does it?
It has to be the ward councillor, yes.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, in this instance, do we really want it to be called in, or are we just happy because if it is a case that the planning officer objects to this for some real considered pertinent reason about the roof line, which probably has a lot to do with light in the neighbours' gardens and things like that, should we just let this one go, but in future, well, this is the point at which we'd have to step in?
I think we have to call it in. So we're talking about Michael Anderson or Karen Soones to call it in. Otherwise, there is a risk that delegation could take the planning officer's recommendation. I think council might well have a different view.
Okay.
So we ask Councillor Anderson or Councillor Soons to call it in.
Are you proposing that we do that for this instance? Or?
Can I propose that? I don't know whether you can propose that the district council. I don't think one can fetter district councillors in that way.
Well, no, but I mean, you could make it. You could make a subtle request, but you know, we can't.
We can make a subtle request, but I don't think we can make the proposal that
Okay.
they should.
Okay, so let's just move on, shall we?
Councillor Drummond would like to speak. Sorry.
Yeah, I would just say, ask them. We asked them to do it over the McDonald's, and McDonald's has been referred to members.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure how or why, but that factor could have been the reason. So let's ask them.
Okay. All in favour of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see what becomes of it.
Okay.
Or at least find out what specifically is wrong with that one. Item 13, tree preservation orders.
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. 14, licensing.
None.
Could we change the C to an S in licensing? It's upset me for years.
Which one?
The first one where it says 14 licensing with a C, and I've
Yes, as opposed to the second one where it's correct.
where it's correct.
Yes, within full words.
Does upset me.
Okay, correspondence.
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, straight to the date of the next meeting then, Monday the 8th of June. Okay, anyone have anything they'd like to raise at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We still haven't had, and I don't know what Deborah's thoughts are on this, our neighbourhood plan meeting. And given the approach of the West Suffolk planning officers to our neighbourhood plan, which I was pretty disappointed in, I think it's important either that we put it on this, goodness me, Warwick, right up to the screen. I think it's important that we get to grips with the neighbourhood plan. So either we need to put something on our next planning meeting, or we need to schedule our meeting. That's number one. Number two, trees. I think we need now to pursue more vigorously tree matters and make our presence known. Because I was thinking back, and actually there was a time 10 years ago or so when nobody at the district council, admittedly it was a different district council, listened to us about trees, but I think we've made progress, and I think that particularly with our new chair, we ought to really, embed in the tree matters, and they are in the neighbourhood plan too. So I'd like to either put neighbourhood plan and tree policy on the next meeting, or just trees, and then schedule our separate meeting for the neighbourhood plan, because I am concerned that it's not being taken seriously at the district council.
I support having a neighbourhood plan meeting, which was postponed. The one we postponed in, was it April or was it March?
March.
Well, the plan was the 30th of March was going to be our workshop on the neighbourhood plan. It would be difficult to have a workshop under these conference conditions. Certainly the structure that was planned for the 30th of March did not allow for everyone to be meet together. We were going to split into groups, and clearly that's not possible, or I don't think it's possible on a Zoom meeting. We could redesign it. The idea of that conference, that workshop, was to prioritise the community actions because it's the town council is responsible for community actions. Now, Councillor Hood's point is that we need to bring the neighbourhood plan before the district council so that they are aware of all the policies within it. And that's a different matter. And I'm not quite certain how we do that.
Well, I think then let's just put it on the agenda, and we need to think about it, and I'll think about it.
I think Councillor Appleby has an idea that's worth exploring, and that is that community services and leisure services are combined because there's a lot of overlap there, and that we have a separate neighbourhood plan committee. Now, again, the emphasis on that was really about community actions rather than the policies, which should be there whenever we make a decision about any planning application within Newmarket. So certainly we can think about how we can raise the status of those planning policies, and that would be a useful thing to do. And maybe we need to invite the district councillors for Newmarket to raise it in their eyes, so that they're in a position when it comes to planning matters at West Suffolk, they actually are familiar with the policies. But yeah, put it on that we can have this discussion next time. Yeah.
And I think we ought to invite, maybe this is something that we should do too, try and invite the planning officers or the person in charge of planning at West Suffolk to come to the meeting, and so we can discuss the neighbourhood plan with them. I mean, so for those who don't know, the mayor was the deputy, whatever, chair of the neighbourhood plan. And to say that the approach, in my view, was somewhat from the planning officer who was recommending the McDonald's was, well, it's ugly and industrial up there, so we're just doing what's already there, doesn't strike me, and I suspect it doesn't strike the mayor, as what we are expecting from our neighbourhood plan. We have to start somewhere, and I think if we let this one go, we're not going to start anywhere, and we need to make our views very well known. So I suppose in a nutshell what I'm saying is, can we try and invite somebody, somebody, Councillor Drummond perhaps could tell us who, the head of planning or something, so we can discuss the impact of our neighbourhood plan on the policies, or the way planning applications are resolved. Would be Rachel Armand probably.
Should we wait, have a meeting where we discuss how we're going to approach that first, and then invite them to the following one after that? So
Whatever.
at the next development planning, we'll go through the neighbour plan policies and determine which ones apply to development planning and how we're going to pursue them, and then invite them to the meeting after.
Is it actually an item for next full council agenda?
Yeah.
Discuss there.
Well, if it's on the full council agenda, then we can refer any outcomes from that debate to the development planning. What I would like councillors to do is to look at the policies and look at the community actions. And there are two different things. One is our responsibility, that's community actions, and one is the policies relating to all planning applications. So we need to be able to clear in our minds the difference between the two before we invite a West Suffolk officer, planning officer, to our meetings. But certainly that can come out of our full council meeting with recommendations to the development and planning meeting to follow it through. But it would be great if everyone had a look back. Hopefully you've all got a copy of the neighbourhood plan and see the difference between the community actions and the policies.
Can I propose it is an item on next full council agenda, the neighbourhood plan, please?
Have we got time for that, for next?
Well, it could be, we can put it on the next full council agenda, and if it's looking like, we want to have quite a lengthy discussion about the neighbourhood plan, it's a really important document, perhaps the full council could look to set up a separate meeting specifically just to discuss the neighbourhood plan, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a one. It would be useful to have a lot of time discussing it. You can't really do it in 5 minutes.
So can we put it on the agenda where we can just get an overview and then decide if we're having a separate meeting, as you say? And it'd be good, I think, for Debbie to, if she hasn't got a copy of it, have a look at it too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else for the next agenda?
So are we putting trees on the next agenda then?
Yeah, trees,
And
tree matters.
what specifically do we want to discuss, just so it's clear for the agenda?
I guess a way of pursuing maintaining the trees we've got and protecting them, and yeah, tree policies.
Policy, really.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So, Chair, just to summarise, to note items for next meeting: neighbourhood plan, community actions, and policy. Yes.
Well, I think we've agreed that the neighbourhood plan is going to go to the full council agenda.
Right. Okay. So just tree policy for this one.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want it on both, would we?
If I could come in on that point, I don't know if Councillor O'Neill remembers, but he and I were meant to be on preparing a tree policy, I think.
Yes, yes, I remember that you were.
Events rather have overtaken us. But I'm sure Councillor O'Neill can have a conversation if you'd like us to prepare something for the next meeting.
Yeah.
I think that'd be helpful.
Good.
Everyone else thinks on it too, and
I'll try and look back in a minute
ideas.
what we're meant to be doing. But.
So is that you still want that on this agenda for next time?
Yes, tree matters. Yes, and also I think it would be helpful also having the neighbour plan in this meeting as well, because at least we should maybe consider including some references to it within our the general statements we make, like when we support a planning application, we should quote it as to how that planning application would fit into our neighbourhood plan, and likewise when we object on that same basis.
Okay, so I'll put it down as neighbourhood plan, community actions and policy.
Great.
And actually, sorry, we better have a McDonald's item, because by that time the delegation, the planning committee will have happened. So we have to report
an update. Okay.
Okay.
Any more, or is that all?
Yeah, we're getting a bit tight for the next meeting, Chairman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, I think we are done. Great. See you on Monday the 8th of June then. Thank you very much, everyone.
Or in
Thank you.
4 minutes. In some
4 minutes,
situations.
yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
All right, then, Deborah.